A new home. Note 8, 5th of January. Well, reader, I am here. I have arrived at my next humble abode. There is an abandoned warehouse just near the water treatment facility in the northwest that houses a bizarrely labyrinthine interior and a warm lamp for shelter. I imagine this isn't the most fanciful places, but it will do nicely for someone just on the edge of suicide. With this in mind, I should say that I won't be here for long, and if you are finding this note somehow, you will most likely be free to take the place. It isn't the most astoundingly beautiful of homes, but it could be quite a bit worse. As you enter, you have the choice between going down and straight ahead. If you're feeling adventurous, go down and explore all the wonderful nothingness that awaits you there in the basement. If you go through the door in front of you, however, you will find my bed and the rest of my things. I must say, finding a place for a bed instead of a dirty mattress was fantastic, even if the bed looks like a bed for children. I'm certainly not picky when it comes to comfort. I will say that there is a rather large hole in the ceiling about 20 feet or so from the bed. Usually it's fine, but I imagine it'll become a problem with rain, snow, or cold in general. Still, the warmth of the lamp is almost unnatural, and the embrace of the blankets is always seductive. It's a quiet place, except for the occasional passerby. A minotaur named Moses came through the area and said something about dwellers being idiots and then proceeded on his way. It wasn't exactly as interesting as my encounter with Jonah, but at least he seemed somewhat sane. Apparently, he was trying to convince the Order encampment up north to travel inland to the old city. They completely dismissed him, of course, as he evidently wasn't aware that his title is defunct. I never understood the obsession. I have seen nothing to warrant an expedition into the inland, and I don't find the arguments of either the dwellers or the other minotaurs to be particularly convincing. All of this trouble is caused by the sourcing of our clean water, and to extend from that anything related to some hidden knowledge is ridiculous. The water is clean by necessity. Even my companion will tell you this. The companion you have is from an older time, so it won't include this information, but I will relay an excerpt from this newer version here. Green pipes, installed in, date removed by later editor, though I'm honestly not sure who. They provide clean water to the exterior of the old city. Natural water in and around, removed. Island historically had problems with deposits of, removed, making it extremely dangerous to consume sea unclean water or void. Notable documented effects of the unclean water include hallucination, severe migraines, and thoughts of suicide. The extreme mental effects of the unclean water makes filtration and treatment a necessity. While numerous treatment facilities exist around the outer ring of the island, all filtered water feeds back into the island before being filtered again and fed to the exterior, effectively making the old city the source of clean water. The entire process is automated with an estimated lifespan of around removed years. After the global incident in Removed, the Council, see Council on Modernity, split the flow from the interior into 3 groups. The first group serves the Guild, see Guild of the Greater Eye, the second serves the Unknowing, see Unknowing, and the third serves the Order, see Order of the Cosmos. The assumption is that the source is somehow a wellspring of things unrelated to the water itself. Did no one ever consider what our clean water actually is? In our context, clean water is water with an absence of something. It lacks that which makes the water unclean. How did so many minotaurs latch onto this ludicrous story of enlightenment? The dwellers have a similarly derosory understanding of the inland. According to notably recent narratives, the inland houses a series of dangers so great that anyone venturing in can never escape. Of course, everyone who has entered has supposedly never come back out, but the number of said individuals is few, and the total reasons for moving back to a place you came from are lacking. To be fair, any reasons they would have for venturing inland are overshadowed by their obsessions with each other, so any undertaking is beyond impossible. I swear it's as if the entire dweller populace is more concerned with their enemies than their allies. Over and over they make their raids and their wars, making it a mystery as to why the island doesn't audibly groan under the pressure. Just 5 years ago, the positions of the factions were completely switched. While the Order now occupies the northeast and some of the northwest, the Unknowing dot the north and the west, and the Guild occupy the south. The situation was inverse just a short while ago. It's almost an achievement that attrition has not taken them all. So many Pyrrhic victories and expeditions into nothingness that is a bit more bland on a tiny rock. Perhaps the other Minotaurs are correct on the basis of pragmatism. Perhaps moving inland would provide the factions with enough space to live comfortably in spite of each other. To hell with it. As long as they each exist, they will each fight, and as long as the inland is in any way useful, everyone will continue to ignore it completely. We're all so laughably pathetic. You, me, and the rest of them are all static in our own degeneracy and filth. Note 9, 27th of April. A man from the guild came by today. I'll be honest in saying that having sat in the dank excuse for a hovel for months with no other company than my wasted typewriter and the memories of old times, I was more than willing to chat. At least I was, until he decided to reveal his occupation. At first, however, he simply seemed like an interesting dweller asking questions about the area. He introduced himself without giving a name, which was reciprocated in a similar fashion, and he began to ask me questions about my relationship with the Order. Sensing something odd, I finally brought the truth out of him. He revealed that he was actually an investigator working for the guild. Evidently, I am suspected of colluding with some Order agent in a covert espionage mission of some other stupidity. After the initial frustration passed, I began to see the humour in the whole situation, so I laughed him out of my residence. He said he'd be back in a few days with a document that I would be very interested in, that his questions were not over. I continued to laugh, and with good reason. The dwellers must be worse off than I thought if this is a level that is even possible to stoop to. Absurd in all senses. Perhaps it is simply my misanthropy speaking, as I have been alone long enough to lose my social niceties. These niceties, of course, are simply the result of my ability to be patient with people. It's been a problem in the past, and it was certainly a problem with Bella, but my social anxieties and trained silence tend to make the illusion of interest work out in everyone's benefit, even if I don't care or internalize any of the nonsense that anyone is saying. I did manage to pretend with this investigator, and even while laughing at him, I never once told him of his irrelevance. Anyway, he'll be back. He'll bring his document. I'll look over it, laugh, and then we'll be on our merry way. What a glorious waste of time it will be, as well.